is reporting snow. Out on Long Island, snow. Boston's getting a little snow as well. Now the heavier is where you see the brighter white, obviously. So from Atlantic City to Baltimore at BWI, they're reporting F+. That means heavy snow. Down through Washington, D.C., it's going to start piling up. Already on the grass. Roads are still looking pretty good, just wet. Temperatures have been fairly warm, a little bit above freezing, so that's really helped out. But we'll see it piling up back towards Charlottesville and back into West Virginia. Actually, at Snowshoe Ski Resort, they're already reporting 6 inches of snow on the ground. If that has you running out the door with skis in hand, keep in mind that near the coast, temperatures are fairly warm, so roads are just wet, but they are likely to be snow-packed and slippery, especially as you get up into the mountains of Western Virginia and West Virginia. Otherwise, a little rain to the south, and we'll take a look at it. First off, coastal flooding possibility. That's one other sort of minor detail with this storm. Not minor if you live here, though. We have high astronomical tide, a new moon, and an area of low pressure, of course, is bringing the easterly winds. So at the time of high tide, tonight and then again tomorrow morning, there probably will be some problems. We'll keep an eye out for that. By tomorrow afternoon, our storm should be far enough away that that won't be a problem any longer. But right now, the talk is definitely of snow from Montauk Point all the way back here to Atlantic City. Philly getting the snow, Baltimore and Washington. You see how the colors get a little darker? Well, that's, of course, where that snow is a little bit heavier. There's still some rain out there, too, actually. As you get down towards Salisbury, it was snow for a while, but now it's rain. Richmond changed over to snow. Newport, down to the Hampton Roads area, Newport News, Hampton Roads, still sticking with rain. Temperatures might cool off a little bit. You can see how it's kind of spinning around. Well, as that colder air pivots in on the backside of the area of low pressure, there may be a quick changeover, but with rain right here at the coast, so far, you're going to end up with very little accumulation, even if you do. Not much going on. Out here through the plains, high pressure. It's a quiet day. You deserve it. Had a couple days of snow and ice through here. In the west, this area of low pressure, boy, it's pretty puny. Not too many problems with that. A little bit of Washington, D.C. You'll notice that they're starting to see a nice little layer, but the roads still look good here, so no real problems there. However, that may change by later this afternoon, especially if temperatures drop just a little bit and get us down below freezing. Then it'll start sticking. En route to the East Coast, we've also had snow in Kansas City. That's our next stop on the list. Up with another storm behind it, one more behind that, all following the same path. That could make for some interesting weather over the next few days. Let's go ahead and take a look first off at our storm history, and then we'll move on and show you what's happening right now. This is all from one storm system. Brought some heavier stuff into southern Colorado, northern New Mexico. Over 6 inches. I don't think anyone got anything close to 12. So again, this is not a huge storm. It's not going to go into the record books, but it did cause a lot of problems across Kansas. You saw Kansas City there. Ended up in the 1 to 3 inch range. Today, it's getting you in West Virginia, Maryland, actually Baltimore, reporting heavy snow this past hour. Here's our storm right now. It's going to take a track kind of like this, head off to the northeast. Not becoming a nor'easter, but having some of the same effects as a nor'easter would with the onshore flow. Coastal flooding could be a problem. At the time of high tide tonight and tomorrow morning, we have a new moon, so it's astronomically high tide time of the month, and then we get that onshore flow, and that can cause some problems. Hopefully they won't be too bad. The majority of the talk, I'm sure right now, is about snow, which we're getting in Long Island and in Boston, New Jersey, across Maryland, back here into West Virginia, where you see the bright white on the map. That's where the snow is heaviest at this point. We also had some rain into North Carolina and some severe thunderstorms down into Florida. So this storm system covering a lot of ground. The latest radar here does show you, again, where you see the darker green, that's where the heavier snow is. It's lighter as you get back towards Pittsburgh, Charleston. Again, the mountains have already had as much as a ½ foot of snow. We'll continue to add to that, although it is lighter and will end sooner here. And then we'll see that snow streaking on up. Actually, we may have leftover snow tomorrow morning as our storm track is ending up a little farther north than first expected. So you may still have a little bit left around Nantucket tomorrow morning. Otherwise, down to the south, it does change over to rain as you get, if you're driving south on Interstate 95, perhaps south of Richmond, you're going to find all rain here. Norfolk, out towards Cape Hatteras. I think Elizabeth City, it's already ended. Myrtle Beach had some rain earlier. Just a little cool and cloudy right now. Something to think about in our forecast for now. Well, pretty much no activity outside of that small band of lake effect in Chicago and what's going on with our storm in the east. And this one, again, can't wait to get out of here. By tomorrow, we think it will be gone. We want to remind you that temperatures, look at our forecast. Our storm rotation today, a couple of sprinkles in California should do it. We do have some heavier downpours in Florida. 1/10 to a ½ inch of rain is expected. Might get some gusty winds and lightning problems too, so keep that in mind. But most of the activity right there, there's your 3 to 6 inch rain, brings a better chance of rain.
Looking like this, the biggest game in town right about here with this area of low pressure. Temperatures, as I mentioned, and behind the front, rain out ahead.
Channel.
And we'll show you that for the most part we've got a fairly quiet weather pattern going on. A little system working its way through California. We have some moisture returning into Texas, but this is the big game in town. This is the system, the area of low pressure that is continuing to churn here. It's going to pick up some steam and move up the eastern seaboard, and as it does so, we are going to see more snow. We've had some brief bursts of heavy snow, and that could be the case once again for D.C. and on into Philadelphia, Baltimore, the Beltway. Not slick right now, but it may become so later on tonight. So please, if you have to get out and about this evening, maybe you're going to dinner and a movie or over to some friend's house, you may want to drive a little slower and watch out for the other guy, because you haven't seen snow in a while. You may not remember how to drive in this kind of thing, especially if it starts to ice up on the bridges and the overpasses. That's what we're mainly concerned with. All right, you see that snow whipping on through D.C. and Baltimore and Philly and even into New York City now. Kennedy and LaGuardia reporting light snow. Actually, we've seen snow as far north as Boston in the past hour. It's just a lot lighter the farther north that you head. See how very, very pale the green is here near Boston. However, it gets darker near Baltimore and D.C. Well, that's because we're seeing heavier snow bursts a little farther to the south. And the snow is starting to taper off just a bit for the higher elevations of West Virginia. That's where we have seen the bulk of the snow, as much as 6 inches of snow reported in some of the mountains of West Virginia. And so that's what we're looking at right now, folks, with this area of low pressure. Last year you saw a ton of snow. This year you haven't seen a whole lot. So this is sort of a big story, and we'll have some live coverage for you, hopefully, up here at the top of the hour. So stay tuned for that. How much snow are we anticipating? Well, you'll probably see about 3 to 6 inches of snow where we have the darker purple shading, and then it will move on out. Now, this is through the noon hour on Sunday. I want to show you some of the roadway. I see this is a problem we haven't seen a whole lot of this year in places like D.C. and Philadelphia and Baltimore and New York City, but you are seeing it today, so happy weekend. Enjoy the winter wonderland out there. If you don't have to get out, it's probably a good idea not to. So far, the roads have not been too bad, but that may be not the case later tonight as temperatures get a little bit cooler and we see some icing starting to happen on the bridges and the overpasses, certainly.